Welcome to the TUS Gaelic grounds for the Irish Wire Products Limerick Senior Football Championship final between Adare and Newcastlewest, two of the most competitive teams in the Limerick Senior Football Championship over the last 5 or 6 years. John Keogh here in commentary, delighted to be joined by ex-inter-county footballer Para and Pa. No question that we have the best two teams in the competition out here this evening.
Yeah, look, they're the teams who've shared the last 4 county titles between them. You look at the tape, both of them arrived here, 4 wins, no losses. They are the best two teams in the county at the minute. They're showing it. Much like the rivalry between Molineen and Bradford previously, these seem to be the two teams now who are, if you're going to win the county, you need to either beat one of them or both of them. And look, like you said, the two best teams are in the final here today, and look, it's anyone's game.
If you look back to probably the birth of this rivalry, it was 2017 when Adare had just come up from winning the Intermediate Football Championship. Newcastle looked to be heading for a second county title in the space of 3 years, and a late Jack, very late Jack English goal saw Adare to back-to-back victories. They went on to win another one in the meantime, but it's not even in final. It's the first time they've met in a final since that game in 2017, but they've met at quarter-final and semi-final stages the last few years, and either side has gone on to win the competition.
Yeah, like I said, it's if Adare are not winning it or getting to the final at the minute, it's Newcastlewest, and like you said, last year's quarter-final probably in essence was the final. Newcastlewest had lost the hurling final a few days previous, so we were chatting earlier, like they're coming into this now, they're a dangerous team and they've got a bit of hunger, a bit of bite. They've lost it last year. They've seen Adare, they want it back. So looking down at the Adare boys, like they're full of confidence as well. They're a team who are looking at bigger things at times, like their Munster Championships is the talk at times, and competing at that level. But the two best teams, the thing that will come, I suppose, is there's certain players in each team. The Hugh Burks and Adare, the Ian Corbetts, Newcastlewest, we know what they're going to deliver. It's going to be the other lads who will step up that we don't expect.
Yeah, quick check on the teams now, starting with Adare. They line out as expected and what was on their programme, starting with Brendan Carmody in goals, full back line, Oran Collins, David Connolly and Owen Costello. Shane Doherty captains this Adare side from half back. He's joined by Ronan Connolly and Garrett Sparling. Midfield, he's Robbie Burke, partnered by Roy Gleeson. Half forward line, Paul Maher, Shane Costello and Davy Lyons. And the full forward line on this Adare team, Mark Connolly, Hugh Burke and Owen Ryan. Heading over to Newcastlewest, who show 2 changes from the advertised programme. In goals is number 16, Andrew Ruddle. He replaces Michael Quilligan. Full back line, Mike O'Keefe, Darren O'Doherty and Brian O'Sullivan. Half back line, Owen Murphy, James Kelly and Seamus Hurley. Cian Sheehan and Ian Corbett in midfield. Half forward line, Sean Murphy, Shane Stack and Brian Hurley. Full forward line, Brian Nix, Mike McMahon and number 21, Owen Hurley is in for Dear McKelly on the Newcastlewest side. We're just moments away from our on Naveen, and we'll now pause for the national anthem. The referee for this evening's final is Jonathan Hayes of the St. Senans Club. Pat, time to nail your colours to the mast. Who's going to do it?
Look, it's your classic 50-50 toss of a coin game. Like I said, it's the two best teams in the county. Just going on the fact that Newcastlewest, after their loss against Adare last year, that little bit of hunger, like, because when you're looking at the teams on paper, so evenly matched, maybe Newcastlewest slight advantage on the bench as well to come off of it, but that little bit of want that they have from the hurt of last year's losing, I'd just slightly give it to Newcastlewest.
Adare won't be easily beaten here. Just a couple of positional changes as we see straight away. Owen Ryan is out left half forward for Adare. They're going to be playing from left to right as we see it. Sorry, from right to left. Owen Ryan has gone right half back. Paul Maher has gone to midfield. No surprise in that. Newcastlewest in their white and black jerseys, playing from left to right in Adare in the traditional red and black from right to left. Just final checks as Andrew Ruddle makes his way to his own goal, and Brendan Carmody the same down at the city end. Moments away from throwing here of the 2021 Irish Wire Products Limerick Senior Football Championship final, and it's Cian Sheehan winning possession immediately for Newcastlewest. And Pa Ranahan, pressure from Adare, force the turnover, force the steps, and maybe a bit of Mountain has seen it brought up as well.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a lot of noise from both teams throughout this match. But Cian Sheehan there, he's brought a lot of form into this game, and he's a player that certainly Adare will be marking tightly.
Yeah, and it's just the first chance for Adare to get going. Unlucky to take it in there was Davy Lyons, and Newcastlewest now from Mike O'Keefe working it out. That's Ronan Connolly, who's playing very, very advanced for Adare in the early stages of this game, wearing number 6. A big bandaged head as well does Ronan Connolly. It's Newcastlewest still in possession here. Worked across by their cornerback Brian O'Sullivan. There's time and space now for Darren O'Doherty to deliver this pass. And it's a chance for Newcastlewest to come out of their own defensive zone, but it goes all the way back to James Kelly, and you'll have to see as this game goes on, James Kelly will be a focal point for this Newcastlewest side from centre back. And it's Newcastle now just holding on to possession here, working through the lines. It's back to Kelly again and into Cian Sheehan. Sheehan now on the run. Good work initially from Owen Murphy, but Cian Sheehan now up against Garrett Sparling. Sheehan has the better of him outside of the right boot, delivered in towards big Mike McMahon inside. Being marked heavily by Robbie Burke, I think, is back there, Pat. That's an interesting one.
Yeah, look, I suppose Mike McMahon is such a different type of player to have to deal with. And Adare, while they're very good on the ball and very lively on the field, they're short maybe a few inches of height. So it makes sense to put Robbie inside there. I think he did a good job on him last year in the quarterfinals. So, look, it's certainly an interesting matchup to keep an eye on. But it looks like building that attack there, Adare did have a sweeper in place. So, wet ball tonight. It'll be interesting to see how both teams handle the conditions.
Yeah, huge downpour here at the TUS Gaelic Grounds. Long before kickoff, it has eased dramatically since then, but very heavy foot under conditions. The pitch is in great nick as James Kelly plays this one back to his corner forward Brian Nix, gone very, very far away from goals, and plays it out to Seamus Hurley now for Newcastlewest. He's got Owen Murphy down the flank, goes instead into the middle to Sean Murphy, and it's again with Brian Nix. So no rush here for Newcastlewest, patience with it. Out to Owen Murphy again. Challenge comes in, but Murphy going backwards. It's pulled back, says referee Jonathan Hayes. The foul coming from Shane Costello, who has a very healthy head of hair on him this evening, Pat.
Yeah, the style Peter Nash was wearing it well last night, and it served him well in that match. But you can see it there. In fairness, the early exchanges, they're right in Newcastlewest's face. Nobody's getting real time on the ball. The first time that Newcastlewest had it, they were really pushing up, and Hugh Burke, all the forwards, Davy Lyons, they're really going tight. So they're hoping for a quick start, obviously.
Yeah, they are, but it's Newcastlewest in possession here. Darren O'Doherty. It's the offload to Ian Corbett. Corbett, of course, so central to what Newcastlewest will hope to do this evening. And a stunning game in 2019 final when Newcastlewest demolished Ula with ease, as Shane Costello winning back possession for Adare. And ball popping out, and the signal comes from Jonathan Hayes. It's going to be a free for Adare. A little bit of messing off the ball pad, but look, it's early in the game. Both sides getting into the thick of things really, and they're getting their shape.
Yeah, look, there's no real shape to what they're doing with the ball. There is good shape to doing what both teams are turning over the other side when they have it. Like I said, the type of conditions it is probably lends itself to if you go into contact, and this, all it takes is one hand to dislodge that ball. But we haven't really seen yet too much from either side, 3 minutes in only, of what their attacking intent is. Obviously, the one attack Newcastlewest had, it was obvious Mike McMahon is the outball in there, and they'll try that a few times with Adare. We haven't actually seen an attack yet, but look, we know what they bring when they get their hands on the ball.
So it's a free for Adare on that far side. Looking at options now, and it's going to be thrown in. Just too long taking there by Adare with that free, and it was Owen Costello that had the ball in his hands. Not many options, very tight marking from Newcastlewest, and as a result the ball is going to be thrown in. Mike McMahon met immediately by Robbie Burke. And again, they're going to be fairly close together throughout this contest. As McMahon wins that one with ease, shows all his strength and size, gets it back to Owen Murphy, into Ian Corbett now. Corbett trying to deliver this one in around the edge of the square, but it's gone to the right and wide. First wide of the game, Pa, but again, not the best for Ian Corbett delivering it in.
No, look, we know he's a lot better than that, Ian. He's the leader in the team, and there was a clip of him during the week I saw out in the acres in Coona, and that was pretty much like the golf shot he hit that day. It's certainly he'd stick to the football, but look, Ian's better than that, and we'll see plenty more from him in the rest of this match.
Brendan Carmody with the kick out for Adare, goes along with it, does Carmody. It's a great catch in there by Ronan Connolly, and Connolly, as I mentioned earlier, heavily bandaged, and he's been fouled again. So Jonathan Hayes explaining his decision here to a few would-be protesters from Newcastlewest. It's going to be brought forward, and it's Hughie Burke with the ball in his hands, maybe just that bit further out. In fact, Yep, he goes for the pass instead. Goes backwards with it, and Adare will start from deep with Owen Ryan. He's got Burke with him again, and Paul Maher. Paul Maher wearing number 10 but operating in midfield. It's back to Ryan. And going straight across to Shane Doherty. Doherty on that right hand side, going into the 45 now for Adare. He's got options with him. Pass coming inside now to Roy Gleeson. Gleeson back to Mark Connolly. Connolly again, diligent defending from this Newcastlewest side, getting into their defensive shape well, just making it difficult for Adare as Paul Maher gets the pass away to Davy Lyons. Inside it comes to Costello. Costello does well to hold on to that one under pressure from Brian Nix, getting the pass away to Lyons. And out on that right hand side now with Mark Connolly and Pat, Newcastlewest getting into very, very solid defensive shape.
Yeah, and to be fair, they're bringing that ball out to the 65. They're trying to draw Newcastlewest out, but Newcastlewest aren't. There was no Adare players inside the 21 in that attack. And to be fair, Newcastlewest are talking to each other, passing off runners if they see them, and they're talking a lot. But Adare, patience on the ball, they're waiting for a gap.
Yeah, so Costello delivering it now out to Davy Lyons. Lyons has it. Again, looking at options, but it's not really anything forthcoming for Adare at this moment in time. Ronan Connolly has it now, looking to get the hand pass of it, this time into Davy Lyons. Lyons did well to hold on to that, holds on to possession, gets the pass backwards as they come out to the left hand side now with Garrett Sparling. Back inside it comes again to Oren Collins. Collins again. Adare forced to go backwards again. This is really good stuff from Newcastlewest from a defensive point of view as David Connolly plays this one across to Owen Ryan. Ryan going all the way out to that right wing again. There's only two players inside the 45 metre line at the other end. That's Mike McMahon and Robbie Burke. It's come through here. Goal chance initially, just didn't bounce right for Hughie Burke. And Adare were so patient for that little gap to open up, and it opened up to the right man, but the result wasn't for them.
Yeah, you could see he tried it a few times. He was coming out to the ball carrier and then going trying to have a backdoor cut, and it was just inches away. But you can see from that, these two teams very solid defensively. Their scores against in the championship are the best by a mile, and they both only conceded a goal each in championship today, and you can see why the way they're set up.
Darren Doherty now for Newcastlewest gets a pass away. It's taken by Kelly, James Kelly that is, passed off to Sean Murphy. Murphy into the middle to Darren Doherty again. Doherty switches play well. There's a bit of space over on that far side for Brian O'Sullivan to run into it. So Sullivan now off to Corbett. Corbett now bringing play up to the 65 over there. Corbett coming back towards the middle, gets the pass to Brian Nix, and it's Nix to deliver inside. It's good movement inside from Owen Hurley. He's going to be soon challenged by David Connolly there, but Hurley is doing well over on the sideline, holds on to it, gets the pass away. A hand comes in from the Adare player, and there's a sideline ball here to Newcastlewest. It's coming in quick here. It's in directly into Mike McMahon. Robbie Burke does just enough to put him off, and that's twice Newcastlewest have gone for the long option, and twice Robbie Burke has managed to deal with it.
Yeah, it was intelligent play from Robbie Burke there. He knew that he probably wasn't going to win it like that, but he was just making sure that he was making enough of effort at the ball while keeping Mike McMahon away from it. So, he's a really intelligent player, and it's an interesting battle inside there. But you can definitely see Newcastlewest's game, they've had 3 or 4 attacks, and 3 times they've tried to go along with it, but it's just overhitting it so far.
Brendan Carmody with his second kick out of the game. Went long with the first one, he's gone fairly long with the second, looking towards Shane Costello. Needless pushing it back comes in from Owen Murphy. I'd be a bit disappointed with that Murphy pad, no need for it.
No, if we could see it from up here, then Jonathan could definitely see it from down there. But we haven't said it much yet, but as much as Adare are being good on the ball, Mikey Lyons is a big loss to their attack. He brings a lot of experience and coolness, and he knows how to win frees and to create scores. So I'm wondering, will we see him at any stage today? But at the minute, without him, the attack is a small bit blunt.
Yeah, it is. Mikey Lyons, a cracking player for Adare for many years. Been a big loss in the knockout stages of this championship as Mark Connolly has possession now for Harry Gleeson's side. In it comes to Owen Ryan. Ryan does well to ship the challenge before passing to Ronan Connolly. Connolly has too much guile to beat James Kelly there. It's Ronan Connolly on the run here for Adare, still going. Has Roy Gleeson with him. Gleeson stepping on. Gleeson with the shot. And that's the opening score, is it? Just hit off the post at the last moment. It's gone to the left and wide. 9.5 minutes played, Pat. We thought we had the first score. Unlucky.
It would have been a fantastic score as well, and it's a name you've said a lot so far today, Ronan Connolly. I don't know, is it the white bandage on his head, but he's standing out an awful lot. He's winning ball, he's driving forward, and he created that chance for Roy Gleeson just wide.
Brian Nix now in possession for Newcastlewest here, just around the halfway area, and it's Nix having to come back across. Beautiful ball with the outside of his foot to find on Murphy. A bit of space developing now for Newcastlewest. Chance for Cian Sheehan over there on that far side. And Sheehan has gone with the shot, and that's an excellent score, Parana.
Yeah, super crossfield ball there from Brian Nix. Like really spread the play well, and that's probably what the teams need to do, because at the minute it's just probably the passes are a bit too short and they're not moving the defence enough. But super ball, Owen Murphy popped it off the key, and he was in acres there, and it was a good score off his left. And first score 10 minutes into the game, but it's been scores at a premium tonight, obviously with the weather, but like a super score there, Keane off his left, and it'll bring him into the game now.
Yeah, Newcastlewest 1 point. Adare no score here after 10.5 minutes of this Irish Wire Products Limerick Senior Football Championship final. As James Kelly gets a fist of that, only lands to Shane Doherty, but Newcastle have won it back, and there's a foul by Owen Costello there. High challenge on Brian Hurley on that occasion. That point naturally has given Newcastle a big boost.
Yeah, you can just feel it now. There was a good, well-won break there, in fairness, and you'd imagine there'll be a lot of that tonight. Not a lot of clean catches, albeit Corona Connolly caught a great ball earlier, but kick-outs of football now so massive. Both teams, well, especially Adare so far, they're happy enough to go along and see can they win it out the field.
It's Newcastlewest now with possession, and it's James Kelly who ships it off to Ian Corbett. Corbett soon to be met by the challenge of Paul Maher, who isn't very far away from Ian Corbett all game so far. Maher maybe doing a man-marking job.
Yeah, you'd have to imagine that they were going to make sure that Ian was going to single out. Like, it'd be silly not to, and Paul Maher would know him well from inter-county duty.
Yeah, slip from James Kelly, and as a result, the pass and the intended target for his pass doesn't go to plan. It's Mark Connolly now with the pass away to Hughie Burke, well away from where he'd like to be, Hughie Burke, but it's a good pass for Shane Costello, and it's a trip by Owen Murphy, and there's plenty of calls for cards here, Pa. Will we see something from Jonathan?
He doesn't look like he is. It looked to be very accidental enough to, I don't know, is that brought into it? Like, so, yeah, it was a good move. You can see what they're trying to do. They're trying to suck Newcastlewest out and break quickly on them. There was loads of space there for him to run into. Nice ball from Hugh, and Hugh stepping up for the free there now. Like, he has been scorer in chief for Newcastlewest. Looking at it, for Adare, he's contributed almost half their scores year to date. Like, whereas Newcastlewest are more spread around the field. So if Adare are going to take home the trophy, Hugh will have to get his name on the score sheet a few times tonight.
Yeah, both sides vying for the Father Casey Cup. As Hughie Burke with his first free of this evening's game, midway between the 45-metre line and the 21. Is the Adare number 14, scorer-in-chief for Limerick at times is Hughie Burke. Scorer-in-chief for Adare, a hell of a lot more. And we've a level game plan. Hughie, if you give him chances like that, he's going to score them.
Yeah, look, he's those sort of frees normally bread and butter to him, in fairness. And Newcastlewest will be, to be fair, so far they've been very steady in defence and disciplined, so they'll be looking not to give away too many of those.
Kick out comes from Andrew Rudley. He's decided to go long this time. It's Keane Sheehan trying to win it, but Adare have got their hands on it. As Paul Maher with the hand pass. A good one in towards Mark Connolly. Just couldn't pick it up first time, but Connolly's got it now. Gets the pass away to Roy Gleeson. There's been a foul off the ball. And maybe another chance for Hughie Burke immediately. Well spotted by Jonathan Hayes, Pat.
Yeah, a bit far out. Well, it's inside the 45, so he might go for it, but he's looking around for someone to give it to. So in these conditions might be a small bit far out, especially the angle he's at here, so he's looking around and goes short with it.
Gone short with it indeed, and it's Owen Ryan now in possession for Adare. Moving into the 45. Going through the hand passes now. It's Maher out to that right hand side again. Mark Connolly coming on the angle for Owen Ryan before delivering this one into the middle to Robbie Burke, who has followed Mike McMahon out the field, but Mike hasn't gone too far. He's gone up to the 45-metre line. But Robbie, you would imagine, will do that from time to time, mix things up.
Yeah, to be fair, like as good as he is at probably, well, he's got a match up tonight defensively, but as we know from the quarter-final, like he's well able to score as well. He lines out into full power line for Limerick senior footballers, so it'd be silly to take away that part of his game from Adare. So we will definitely see him up the field.
Garrett Sparling with the pass now to Roy Gleeson. Been immediately met by a couple of Newcastle defenders, namely Brian O'Sullivan and James Kelly there, and it's Kelly that intercepted the pass, and it's Newcastlewest that have been awarded a free. Just a late hit as the hand pass came away. It's taken quickly by Seamus Hurley, and away they come now with Darren O'Doherty. Bit of space for Owen Murphy to run into, decides to go back to O'Doherty again. And Hurley now with it, James Kelly. And Newcastlewest not going long. Keane Sheehan with possession for Newcastlewest out to that left hand side yet again. And just going through their processes here. Mike O'Keefe plays it back to Murphy again, and And Pat, Newcastlewest or Adare, they're not going to change their game plan. They'll go through their processes. No matter how long it takes for them to get up towards goal, they'll keep going with it.
Yeah, and you can see here, like, as much as we kind of say how good Adare are with the ball, like, they have everyone inside their own half. So it just shows, like, that the good football teams are well capable and have no problem with dropping back into defence when they need to. And like, it's not the most pleasing of things to watch if you're a supporter, and especially if the ball has been moved at a slow enough pace. But when you're in finals and you want to win, like, this is what they need.
Yeah, Darren O'Doherty looked to go long towards Mike McMahon. Didn't do it initially. He might do it now. Darren O'Doherty. Well, he didn't go long, or he didn't go for the shot. Well, he went for the shot, Parana,
Yeah.
but as we hit the first water break here, it's a point apiece in this Irish Wire Products Limerick Senior Football Championship final, and maybe a bit of deer caught in the headlights from Darren's point of view there.
Look, we've all been there. We've all, from that exact point, I've done things like that. So look, it happens when, I suppose, you look at the scoreboard and you've only a point on the board and you feel like you've had quite a lot of possession. Like, while Adare have held it well, Newcastlewest have definitely had more attacks. And when you've only a point to show from it and you've ventured up the field, like, that's when cool heads are necessary. I don't think you'd see any of the Adare full back line taking a shot like that from there. Darren is a fantastic defender, but probably doesn't have that in the locker. But look, venture up the field, did well up to that point, but just cool heads and find your shooters. But it's very even at the minute. It's very cagey start.
Yeah, just emphasise the fact up to that shot with 2 wides apiece as well. That's the 3rd wide for Newcastlewest. Look, have to mention the referee, Jonathan Hayes, handling the game very well so far as well.
Yeah, look, again, we all have our issues with refs at times, but to be fair to Jonathan, he's one of those refs that he'll talk to you during the match. Like, if you feel like that, frees have been given against you and you don't know why, at least he'll talk to you about it. The worst is ever is when you question it and you get blanked, and that just leads to more frustration. There'll always be decisions where you don't agree with. But to be fair to Jonathan, he's letting it go as much as he can. Like, there's a few off the ball stuff that he's just having chats as well as not causing any hassle, just saying, look, I saw that there, be careful. But like, he certainly is not the reason why the score is only a point apiece at the minute.
No, and that's exactly where it is here at the first water break. We played nearly 16 minutes here at the TUS Gaelic grounds, and it's 1 point apiece in the Limerick Senior Football Championship final. We're going to have a restart taken by Brendan Kennedy, the Adare keeper, who I think is close to 6'9", 6'10", is it? Is Brendan's side?
Yeah,
he certainly is a huge man.
He takes some shot to lob him anyway. He's touching the crossbar without even jumping, and Brendan's been around a good while for Adare during this journey they're on. The other side of the field, Mike Willigan, we haven't really mentioned, probably a big loss to Newcastlewest on their kickouts and even 45s. But Andrew Ruddle doing grand at the minute.
It's an inch perfect kick from Brendan. There, brilliant mark taken by Owen Costello. We're playing this one back to Owen Ryan, and it's Adare making their way up the field. Shane Doherty now. Won't come to Doherty again, you'd imagine, but Adare, there's full court press, as we'd call it, for Newcastlewest players around that, just looking for a mistake. Doesn't come this time for Adare, but they are hunting in backs.
Yeah, and like, to be fair, there's no sweeper back for Newcastlewest either, so if Adare can make a breakthrough here, there's definitely space to exploit.
Yes, Shane Costello running into that space, as Parana had mentioned. Hasn't been fouled, says referee Jonathan Hayes. Coming together was his decision. The ball comes back to Andrew Ruddle. And it's Newcastlewest now just launching that one clear. Maybe a hit and hope clearance may work out for them. That's an unbelievable take, nearly there by Ian Corbett, I think it was, for Newcastlewest. They're free as come this time. And maybe a hit and hope clearance, but it worked out well for Newcastle in the end.
Some days you just put your boot through. Mike O'Keefe just decided there was nowhere to go with that ball, and just he got more height and distance on it. But look, it worked out in the end. It was good pressure again from Adare. Shane Costello was actually unlucky on the way through, maybe not to win it free, but just symptomatic of the game so far. Things almost very good.
Yeah, Seamus Hurley slipping there, but holding on to possession for Newcastlewest. Advantage coming to him, but Brian Nix has the ball for Jimmy Lee's side now. It's coming to the middle to Ian Corbett, and it's James Kelly looking ahead for it. Accurate pass comes in from Kelly. Good pressure from Oran Collins there on Owen Hurley, but Owen Hurley has won the free. Just too much physicality on that occasion from the Adare defender. In fact, it was Shane Stack winning that free as Ian Corbett takes possession now for Newcastlewest. Looking into the middle where there's a bit of space to run into. It's going to be Corbett taking a pass, and he loves to come on that angle from that Sean Murphy pass. In low comes again. Here, shooting chance maybe developing. Does come in the end. It's gone to the right and wide though. Again, it was Cian Sheehan. And it's gone to the right and wide. 4th wide for Newcastlewest, but a better move all around, Pat.
Yeah, it was much more purposed, a bit more directness, finding that gap at 11. And Keane, once he won it there, he was going to be very hard to stop. So that's what probably more Newcastlewest need to do. Look for a little kick pass at 20 yards to get things moving.
James, Brendan Carmody with the kick out there. Well won by Hugh Burke, with a brilliant hand in there from James Kelly. And it's Newcastlewest with possession now. Over carried though. Just threw it up and caught it to Darren O'Doherty. Well spotted by the referee. And Paul Maher tries to take this one quickly for Adare, trying to inject a bit of pace. And it's Hughie Burke. Should have the legs for James Kelly. Does. Now it's a chance off his left for Hughie Burke. Dummies onto his right. Brilliant block down from James Kelly. Got the hand in it. And it may be a bit of inspiration there from Kelly. He was easily beaten by Hughie Burke initially. And in the end, he just got that hand back as Hughie dropped back onto his right foot.
Yeah, look, lovely bit of football from Adare there. Lovely dummy solo from Hugh. Although I probably thought he was going to throw it over with his left. He had a bit of space, but he came onto his right. And to be fair to James, he dived and blocked down. And both sets of supporters were up at their seat for that bit of play there. But just Newcastlewest there have to be careful. Darren O'Doherty just got caught. And you can see what Adare are trying to do. As soon as they turn Newcastlewest over, they're breaking quickly into space.
Robbie Burke is up from his man marking job on Mike McMahon to take this one from the 45-metre line. First 45 of this evening's game, I should say. So Burke, kicker with Hugh elbows with some prominence, but that one is off target to the left and wide, and Robbie won't be overly pleased with how he struck that.
No, he's well able. That's well within his, as you can see, his distance. He's hitting halfway up the net there, and that would have been a big score, because it would have just shown that with the little bit of possession they've had, Adare would have been in front. And given where they had the ball moments before, to not come away with a score there was unfortunate for Adare, and they'll be sorry about that one. Mike
O'Keefe plays this one out to James Kelly. Kelly with a bit of space to move into. He's going to go along with it. It's an accurate one from James Kelly. Great take as well from Brian Nix. Dispossessed of very well by David Connolly. The Adare full back, and it's Connolly has it again into the middle. It goes to Roy Gleeson. Gleeson forced to go backwards, but it's on Ryan now for Adare. A couple of options in front of him on Ryan. He's gone on with it himself. Just manages to hold onto it and get possession. It's good work from Ryan to find David Connolly, and Adare now with a bit of space through Owen Costello. Heading over to that far wing has Shane Costello with him, and Costello comes inside to Ronan Connolly. Immediately 3 men descend around Ronan Connolly, but Connolly has the pace and power to get away from all 3. Ronan Connolly still going, will do well to get the shot away. It's been foul. Initially, I don't think it's been given for the challenge by James Kelly, Pat. There was a foul before that. And meanwhile, I think James Kelly's gone down, so he's in a bit of trouble here. Looks to maybe have picked up a head injury here, Kelly. He went down fairly innocuously, but doesn't look in good nick. But either way, great run from Ronan Connolly.
Look, he's probably been the stand-up player in the pitch at the minute, or up so far in the game. He's brought real energy and drive when he's won the ball, and he's probably the one Adare player, and even one player in the field so far that wins it, is actually breaking forward at pace, moving the ball up the field. There was advantage being played for the initial tackle, and it's going to be a hand enough free, you'd imagine, for Hugh Burke from Adare, but Ronan Connolly's really having a big influence in the game, and looks like there's a change coming, or a blood sub at the very least. Yeah, Stephen Brosnan, wearing number 18, is in for Newcastlewest. James Kelly's gone off. I think it is just a blood situation for James. We'll keep our eye on that, obviously, here, but it's 18, Stephen Brosnan for James Kelly at the moment, as Hughie Burke lines this one up, and no problem whatsoever for Hughie Burke. So there, with nearly 22 minutes played here at the TUS Gaelic grounds, going to a 1-point lead, Pat. Yeah, I think Killian Fair, Anthony Maher and Harry Leeson would be the happier of the managements looking in at this at the minute. It's just Adare getting a bit of a grip now. They're seeing much more of the ball, and we're looking left a lot, and they're having a good few scoring opportunities. Yeah, and it's Newcastlewest in possession though, and they're going down that left-hand side. Pass comes in now, a bit of space for Ian Corbett to run into. It just hasn't happened for Ian Corbett yet in this game as they work it out to Brian Nix. Nix feints to shoot, comes back outside to Mike McMahon instead. Mike McMahon isn't feigning to shoot. It's a good strike from McMahon. However, the bar it goes from McMahon. Super score from McMahon. Just comes out, he knows what to do. He knows where to go and get in the right area. And there wasn't even a look at the post there. It was into the hands and over the bar. Yeah, there was no doubt when he was getting that ball. It was probably his first time seeing it in his hands in an attacking context. So he was making sure he was getting the shot off no matter what. And a big score there, because it was just Newcastlewest that slightly lost their way. Yeah, Stephen Brosnan making an immediate impact here for Newcastlewest.
Sean Murphy as well winning possession over on that far side under pressure. James Kelly has a bloodied nose here in front of us in the commentary box down in front of the Mackey stand. He's going to be coming back on pretty shortly here as Newcastlewest turn over the possession. That's Robbie Burke with the ball in hand for Adare. Just gets the hand pass away at right hand side. It's on Costello on that far side. Gives it to Shane Costello, and Shane shows he's paced the burn throughout this game so far. And he's causing a few problems when he does get a chance to run. Comes across now to Davy Lyons. Good challenge by Sean Murphy. Straight in at Davy Lyons. Mike O'Keefe gets a boot to it as well. And so does Brian O'Sullivan. But in the end, it's Darren O'Doherty tidying things up for Newcastlewest and coming away with possession. Very good defending there from Sean Murphy getting the hand in.
Yeah, it was good initially from Adare, quick hands, but just Davy Lyons is blindsided. You could see when they bring that ball into the middle, that middle sector, Newcastlewest have bodies and they're not afraid to use them. So it was good from Adare initially, but very good defensively for Newcastlewest.
Brian Nix now tries one with the outside of his boot. Well blocked down though by Oren Collins, and Adare pick up the loose ball. It's Shane Doherty across to his wing-back partner there, Garrett Sparling. Sparling now has options in front. Decides to find Roy Gleeson. Gleeson goes across the middle. It's not a good hand pass. Sean Murphy got a hand to it again, and the Newcastlewest side encouraged to turn it, to move down the field quickly here. It's Owen Hurley off to Ian Corbett. Corbett now with a bit of space run into, gets the pass away to Stephen Brosnan. Back to Corbett again. Corbett tries a trademark one, cutting across with the outside of the right boot as James Kelly returns back. Ian will be very, very disappointed with that.
That's a 9 out of 10 for Ian there in that situation. Like so often you've seen him burst up the field for Limerick and Newcastlewest, and outside of the boot, it was his perfect shot selection really, and just snatched at it a bit. But again, you could see when a bit of pace is injected, to be fair to both teams, when they are injected and they've got runners, there is gaps there, and a bit more of that now, and the game will liven up.
Yep, it remains 2 points apiece as this one from Brendan Carmody goes very long, all the way into the grateful arms of Mike O'Keefe, and he's given Owen Murphy the possession in front. Murphy's gone long and he's seen an opportunity, and here come Newcastlewest again. The shot's going to come in here. It's a scoring chance, certainly. That's a fine effort. As well it goes there. Shane Stack that's got it for Newcastlewest, and Pat, that's the point of the game.
Yeah, and you can see again, once teams are able to transition that ball just a little bit quicker before the other team gets it up defensively, like there where the scoring opportunities come from. We haven't said Shane's name too often, but that was a great score off his right there, and a bit of free-flowing football is starting to happen.
Yeah, as Brendan Carmody goes short to Owen Ryan for the first time of this game. Has a player in front of him, it's Shane Doherty, that has acres of space in front of him here. The Adare wing back still going with it. Doherty, he's travelled 50 metres with it before passing off to Roy Gleeson. Back it comes to Garrett Sparling, and into the middle to Paul Maher now, as there's options and space on that side for the Adare number 10. Goes into Hughie Burke instead. Fine mark taken from Hughie Burke. Adare injected a bit of pace. We just mentioned it with Newcastlewest. Adare go up and do the exact same thing, and a great chance for Hughie to level it again.
Yeah, look, it's repeating yourself, but the sooner they can move it up the field, the less likely the other team are getting set up, and that was really good. Like if we're talking about, that's an interesting miss now.
Yeah,
doesn't happen too often, but even leading up to that before the mark, like you can see they're trying to find that top of the D. Newcastlewest had no one covering it, and a wide for Hugh Burke. He'd certainly, as much as Ian would want his chance back, Hugh would certainly want that one back there.
Yeah, very uncharacteristic miss there from Hughie Burke as Mike McMahon takes a brilliant mark from the kick out for playing this one short. A chance now for Shane Stack again in possession for Newcastlewest. McMahon now making his way in as Owen Hurley takes this one on, making his way back in towards the Adare danger area. Hurley now coming back out with it. Decides to find Brian Nix, and Nix ships the challenge from Shane Costello, holds on to possession at the 45-metre line. Newcastlewest starting again this attack with Owen Murphy. Looking for a bit of an injection here. It's coming from Mike O'Keefe, and O'Keefe surely won't do what Darren O'Doherty did a few minutes ago and go for it. Decides to play the percentage as well and gives it into Cian Sheehan. Sheehan's got 1 point already. He's looking for a second, is Cian Sheehan. That one isn't going towards goal. It's going to drop around the 40-metre line. McMahon went up and it would have been one. He'll be a bit disappointed with Pat Ranahan as Robbie Burke cleans possession up for Adare.
Yeah, poor enough
right through the hands.
Keane off the left, but here coming Adare again, and this is where they're looking to make hay when they can break quicker with the ball, but just have to get numbers up now with the field, because out wide here, yeah, they're getting Roy Gleeson pulling it wide. Owen Costello, and it's slowed down a bit now. But look, it's the right way to approach it, trying to move the ball quicker. Just didn't have enough red jerseys up ahead of the ball.
Oh, plenty of bodies back still for Adare, making their way eventually up in attack as Paul Maher goes on the run. He's Ronan Connolly on his right, and it's Connolly now trying to get a bit of space to get the shot in. It's a wild one from Ronan Connolly, but it's going to drop, and Davy Lyons is onto that one. A flash for Adare. Lyons trying to jink his way past his marker. Brian O'Sullivan goes back out to Shane Costello. Costello puts the brakes on before finding Connolly again, and now it's Ronan Connolly that has it for Adare. And just decides to go back to Shane Doherty again, restarting it. Patient build-up from Harry Gleeson's men. And now it's Garrett Sparling in possession, trying to bring play to the 21. It's Roy Gleeson. Gleeson had a shot earlier, hit the post and went wide. It's back to Doherty on the 45-metre line. Adare just forced to go backwards again. Newcastlewest have 14 behind the ball. They're diligent in their defensive setup. You can have all the space in the wings all you want. The second it comes near the middle, as Pa Ranhan mentioned earlier, you're getting hit, and you're getting hit hard. Mark Connolly now for Adare.
They probably aren't just doing enough to test to be able to test that Newcastle defence. They're just able to sit in. Like when they move it wide here, they probably need to go back centre straight away. And look, that's what happens. They're forcing passes now, and that's exactly what a defensive team would want. Yeah,
but they forced the pass, and Newcastlewest looked to have come away with that one. Garrett Sparling was in fast for Adare, and he's managed to draw a foul from the Newcastlewest defence. So almost immediately, Parana and Hughie Burke has a chance to get his radar back on.
Yeah, it's a much more difficult chance, but it's amazing when the concentration goes up a bit from a more tight, acute angle, that how things can work out differently. But yeah, look, Adare probably looking to get the free in the end, because it did look like it was going to be a turnover for Newcastlewest, but they probably need to probe that a little bit more. At the minute, it's Ronan Connolly's the only one that's really testing them out.
So it's Burke about 12 or 13 metres initially from the sideline. He missed one and straight in front of the goals moments ago, Paranen. He nailed that one with some aplomb.
Yeah, you knew that he was going to make up for the one he missed at the top of the D, and it's a classic example of just when the concentration levels go up and when you have the ability that he does to put the ball over in a level game again.
Yeah, 3 points apiece here in the Irish Wire Products Limerick Senior Football Championship final here at the TUS Gaelic Grounds as Mike McMahon brings this one. There's going to be one additional minute. Jonathan Hayes, Paranen didn't call a mark there, so the Adare player was well within his rights to get the block down. Mike McMahon has protested too vociferously from Jonathan Hayes' point of view. So Mike must have said something fairly strong.
Yeah, look, what obviously happened there that Jonathan called it was that he felt the Adare player got a touch on the ball as well as Mike with the marking it. And look, some refs will give that mark, some won't. He was explaining to him, and probably Mike was explaining back to him why he felt he was wrong. Yellow card, but it's one of those ones. Sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't. I'd have probably given the mark. It's if you're going to be calling no marks from fingertips are getting touched, you could be getting out VAR every situation. But look, Mike is having an influence now when he's coming out for Newcastlewest kickouts, and Adare will have to match up there.
Yeah, 3 points apiece. The sides have been levelled 3 times as well, as Paul Maher plays that one out towards Oran Collins. Collins will do well to hold on to that one. A huge challenge from Cian Sheehan, putting Oran Collins under all sorts of pressure there. Brilliant work from Cian Sheehan. It's gone over the sideline. He tried to take that one quickly. Well, pretend it didn't go out over the line, but Donegal O'Callaghan's flag was up on that far side, and Newcastlewest, unfortunately from their point of view, Pat, they don't get the chance to counter quickly, and they've had to restart it again.
Yeah, I don't know who gave that crossfield ball to Oran, but he won't thank him for it later, because when you have Keane coming at pace like that, you wanted to be a bit close to yourself, and it was a big hit. In fairness to Oran, he took it well, and there's the half-time whistle. Yep,
half-time here at the TUS Gaelic Grounds in the Irish Wire Products Limerick Senior Football Championship final. It's Adare 3 points, Newcastlewest 3 points, and Paranen. It hasn't been a classic, there's no point saying otherwise, but it is still a fascinating game of football.
Yeah, look, you can have a classic brilliant football and teams up 10 points, and you can have a game like this where it's an arm wrestle, and it's much more intriguing in the sense of you don't know who's going to win it still. There is certainly, I don't know, is it fear or respect for the other team that they're making sure when they're not in possession they're getting 14 and 15 behind the ball, and they're slow at taking into contact, which is probably the right decision in most cases, but there will be times in the second half where one team will have to make it a choice that rather than try not to lose it, they're going to try and win it, and it'll probably be that team who comes out on top.
Yeah, and interestingly as well here, Pat, Adare 3 points from frees from Hughie Burke in Newcastlewest, 3 points from play, so maybe, a little telling a tale of that as well.
Yeah, look, if you decide to Newcastlewest management that you get to half time and know Adare scorer from play, you'd have definitely taken that. As I said earlier, you can definitely see why both teams have gotten here and in their defensive strengths. I think Adare only conceding like 7 or 8 scores a game, Newcastlewest 9 maybe, and that's the type of game it's shaping up to be. But look, someone's going to have to probably step up and take a bit more opportunity in the case of Newcastlewest. Keane Sheehan's had a few impacts. Shane Stack with a lovely score. Mike McMahon is coming into it. Adare, Ronan Connolly, as we've said, is the one driving it on, but Hugh Burke is the one, the scorer in chief. Is Mikey Lyons going to be fit enough to come on? Will the Newcastlewest bench, looking through it, like AJ O'Connor, Brian Foley, like these lads who could make an impact? So be interested.
Half time here at the TOS Gaelic Grounds in the Limerick Senior Football Championship Final. So there 3 points, Newcastlewest 3 points, all square. Join us for the second half shortly. Welcome back to the TUS, I should say, Gaelic grounds here for the Irish Wire Products Limerick Senior Football Championship final, second half of the game. 3 points apiece between Adare and Newcastlewest. Paranen, maybe not what a lot of people would have been hoping for before the game, but it's a game for the purists. It's county final. It doesn't matter how you do it as long as you do it.
Yeah, look, the two teams won't care too much about what way it's going if they come out the right side of it. Yeah, we were just watching there. Mikey Lyons looked like he was going through fairly strenuous half-time warm-up, so likelihood is he'll be seeing some action at some stage and maybe provide a spark to the Adare attack that at times is a bit one-dimensional. If it's not Ronan Connolly breaking through, it's kind of moving from side to side, and Newcastlewest are happy just to sit in, whereas Newcastlewest the other way, it hasn't worked out fantastically, but they've gone a bit more direct with the ball they've put in. They're the ones that have got to score some play. Adare at the minute are just keeping in touch by dead balls, but it's 130 minutes now. It's basically 3-all, 0-all, doesn't matter what you call it. It's a tie game, and who's going to step up and grab it by the neck and turn this into a victory? Yeah,
Newcastlewest are back out on the field here at the TUS Gaelic grounds. Are waiting for Adare. Maybe a bit of mind games going on from Harry Gleeson and his backroom team. Of course, that does include the likes of Anthony Marr and Killian Fair as their coaches. So it's a fairly extensive backroom team that Adare have, as they are now back on the field, Pat. But, you know, they go big when they get their management team involved.
Yeah, look, there's no expense spared in Adare the last few years. It's probably pushed the standards around the county of what is expected in your backroom. You've Darragh Droog there in the SFC. You've the two lads, Killian and Anthony Maher, you know, big names in the coaching world, and Anthony Maher, All Ireland's obviously, and Newcastlewest have their own like homegrown coaching team. Like if you were to put together a team in Newcastlewest, you'd probably include all of those. Like the only one missing early is Billy Lee, and he's obviously with the senior footballs in Limerick. So yeah, look, whoever, I suppose, the classic Bill Belichick at halftime, who makes the adjustments, who is going to be the person who sees gaps that they can exploit in the other team and is able to go out and implement it in the second half. But like, it's missing a spark, right? It's missing a spark, but anybody could provide it yet.
Yeah, one man that could provide that spark is Jack English, who has come out for the second half, as has Mikey Lyons for Adare. So Adare certainly not happy with what they've seen. There's Harry Gleeson on the sideline. So we do have Mikey Lyons and Jack English, and of course Jack, as I've mentioned several times in commentary, well capable of popping up with a goal. It's only Newcastle know too well, but it looks just offhand. Right, Gleeson is one of the players gone off anyway, and we'll confirm the other one as Newcastlewest get us back underway, and winning possession is Ian Corbett. You'd imagine it looks like it might be Mark Connolly. We'll just get that confirmed as soon as we can.
Yeah, like it looks like Adare are playing their hand now. They're playing their two impact subs, if you want, right at the start of the second half, and hoping to get a return. Newcastlewest, I don't think any changes yet. They're keeping their powder dry, but good ball play away.
James Kelly over on that far side to Sean Murphy. I think it's Mikey Lyons in for his brother Davy Lyons. From what we see, no, Davy is still there. Could be at this stage Owen Ryan, but Owen Ryan has been funneling backwards. We'll confirm it as soon as we can. It's a Newcastlewest on the run here. Ball comes back to Owen Hurley, drops it as Hurley, regathers it at the second attempt. And still going with it. Has he overcarried? Indeed he has, says referee. The substitution is Garrett Sparling's gone off the field for Adare for Mikey Lyons. So double substitution at half-time for Adare. That's Jack English for Roy Gleeson and Mikey Lyons for Garrett Sparling. So it's Adare winning the free over there, Pat. But as you mentioned, Adare making them calls early on here. They're obviously not happy with what they saw in the first half.
Yeah, and they probably had maybe an idea that this is what they're going to do heading into the match. Mikey's missed a lot of football over the year and probably wasn't able to start. And Jack, the same, has a few injuries, but like they're definitely playing their hand early. They'll probably want to return out of it because, like I said, the Newcastlewest bench is there to be used, and if they'll feel if they can keep it tight for this quarter and push on the last, but all remains to be seen. Here come Adare, Owen Ryan attacking again. Yep,
Owen Ryan has the ball for Adare. He's advancing into Newcastlewest territory with the hand pass. It's a very poor one from Owen Ryan though, and Newcastlewest through Seamus Hurley, I think it was, came away with it initially, didn't manage to get clean possession, as James Kelly's done brilliantly to hold on to that one. Now it's Brian Hurley for Newcastlewest. Very quiet first half from Brian Hurley. He'll be looking to have more of an impact in the second half as Darren O'Doherty plays this one easy enough to Sean Murphy, and it's out to the right hand side to Mike O'Keefe. Eventually going to be closed down by Ronan Connolly forced to check back, and Brian Nix has been readily available throughout, coming away from corner forward, trying to switch. This one's gone all wrong for Nix as he slipped. The mark isn't taken by David Connolly, just keeps going with it. Has his brother Ronan in plenty of space, and he's been one of the bright sparks for Adare in that first half. He's going along with it. It's a perfect pass. Dropped though from the corner forward there, Mark Connolly. In fact, that's Huey Burke who has it. Burke just unable to win possession. It's Mikey Lyons indeed. Apologies. But Mikey Lyons had an easy catch there, Pat. Maybe that bit of rustiness you talked about. He'd be disappointed not take that.
Yeah, he'd already the next ball played before he'd actually made the catch, and like it'd have been a great scoring opportunity from that area. Like, so just that little bit, he's coming in cold really to this game.
Yeah, Newcastlewest now have it through Owen Murphy. They're still inside their own 65-metre line. Owen Murphy has a bit of a lane to run into, and just goes part of the way before offloading to Sean Murphy, and Murphy goes long. It's a good take there from Owen Hurley. Brilliant ball in from Sean Murphy. A great take from Owen Hurley too.
Yeah, and like it's a tactic that they're employing. They're not moving away from as of yet. They've got a good ball winner inside McMahon, and they've a good free taker and mark taker in Owen Hurley, and he puts that straight over the bar. And he's been deadly from frees for Newcastle over the last few years, so it's bread and butter from that area. But again, it's a tactic that Adare probably, if the right ball goes in, will they be able to deal with it? In that instance, they weren't.
Yeah, easy as you like from Owen Hurley on that occasion. Popped that over with confidence as Brendan Carmody finds Oran Collins with the kick out. Collins slips but manages to get an accurate hand pass away to Owen Ryan. Now it's Owen Costello in possession. Back it comes to Oran Collins. And it's David Connolly now anchoring this Adare defence. Has Robbie Burke over on the left hand side, and Burke maybe much happier running forward with it. Mike McMahon's chasing him down. It's a good ball from Robbie into the brother Hugh. Hugh has done well to win possession under severe pressure from Brian O'Sullivan. He's then been fouled, so maybe a bit far out for Hugh Burke. He's tried to steal a yard or two as well. Jonathan Hayes, the referee from St. Senan's, telling him yard or two left, Hughie. You're not getting away easy with that angle. Still a very difficult shooting chance. And he's not going to go for it. Decides to go right across to Owen Costello. Instead, Owen Costello with the chance. Beautifully spotted by Huey Burke. That's a fine finish from Costello. We're level for a four apiece.
Yeah, and I suppose much more composed than I suppose Darren O'Doherty was in his chance. He was under much less pressure there. Owen Costello was able to steady himself. A really good finish at the same time. He's still about nearly 40 yards out at the angle. But again, Newcastlewest, in fairness, when Adare move the ball quick, it's man-to-man in the Adare forwards. So if they can move it a bit quicker, they do have the space, and they do have the players then that can beat them in. But a great turnover, Newcastlewest.
Yeah, Adare looked to be on the stretch there, stretching that Newcastlewest defence, but the turnover has come. Now it's Ian Corbett for Newcastlewest. Got Mike McMahon on his right. He's going to come across to the left-hand side, and Owen Murphy with a bit of space to run into if he can get to it. Just gets the foot to it. May still work out for Newcastlewest, but Ronan Connolly, like he's done all game, he's always been in the right position for Adare, and once again maybe back more where he's traditionally used to playing in defence. There's a turnover here though, foul on Brian Nix, but it's off the ground, says Jonathan Hayes. Newcastlewest thought they'd gone ahead yet again, Paranahan, but and again a bit of words towards referee Jonathan Hayes for the decision. It's gone up 13 metres.
Yeah.
Just picked up off the ground though.
I'm not sure, was it, to be honest? Like it did look like up here it wasn't on the ground, and it would have been a fantastic turnover, I think, by Brian Nix, and it would have been a score for Newcastlewest and one against the head when you're able to turn a defender over like that and get a score out of it. So I'm not so sure on that one there from Jonathan. Was it or was it not? It was a hard call. Look, it's easy to say it from up here, better view maybe, but it did look like it was a bit harsh on the Newcastlewest player. But no score and away we go.
Yeah, Shane Stack has picked up a yellow card for his protestations. Maybe that little bit vociferous for Jonathan Hayes' liking. Robbie Burke has been caught out there but overcarrying, and Newcastlewest trying to move it quickly with Mike McMahon. You're not going to get it easy off Mike McMahon, but Adare have done exactly that. Turnover, and Davy Lyons has been fouled, and we're just starting to hear as this second half goes on, Paranahan, crowd getting more involved.
Yeah, there's just a bit of contact to get things going, juice is flowing. It's great effort there combined with a bit of sloppy play from both teams. Like there's about 3 turnovers there in a row. Great turnover from Newcastlewest. Robbie Burke over carrying it, and then Adare, like all good teams do, not standing and complaining, working back, turn Newcastlewest over, and look, it's brought a bit of life to the game.
Yeah, a little off the ball incident there involving Seamus Hurley and Huey Burke. Didn't quite fully spot it myself, and again Adare have taken too much out of that one. Paul Maher blown up And it's going to be a throw-in ball by referee Jonathan Hayes.
It's consistent anyway. There was a similar in the first half when it happened. So look, it's been consistent in that. Just try and get the game moving again.
It's free for Newcastlewest, in fact, and it's Brian Nix now in possession for Jimmy Lee's side. Forced to go backwards towards Darren O'Doherty. Little bit off the ball stuff happening now every so often too, Pat. It's getting a bit tetchy between the two sides. Nothing more than you'd expect in a county final as well.
Look, there's a lot in the line for these two. Like, they've put a lot into it. Like, so there's certainly going to be that element in the second half, especially as the game nears the end.
Yeah, it's in by Ian Corbett towards Mike McMahon as Brian Nix and Jack English tangled in the lead up to that delivery in. It didn't go to plan for Newcastlewest, and it's Shane Doherty coming away with it to Shane Costello. Costello goes down rather easy under the challenge of 4 Newcastlewest man, and that's Brian Hurley that comes away to McMahon and into Corbett now, and Corbett has James Kelly with him. He's going in his own for the moment as Corbett forced to check back, go to Owen Murphy, and Murphy switches play to Mike O'Keefe. O'Keefe tries to play this one out to the wing to Sean Murphy, and Murphy now, foot race between him and Mikey Lyons. Mikey Lyons doing well not to give away a free on that occasion, and Jonathan Hayes' attention has been brought over to something here. Maybe a little message from Donncha O'Callaghan, who's on the field, and there may be some ramifications for some of that off the ball stuff that we just mentioned.
Yeah, there was just the classic coming together, as they say, between Jack English and Brian Nix there, as Nix was looking to make his way forward. Jack wasn't letting him too easily. You could see the first black card of the game here. If rules have been followed properly, it wasn't a body check, but it was a stop. So yeah, look, a yellow card is probably fair enough.
And the tangle just before that as well, maybe where Brian was probably the more aggressor.
Yeah.
Either way, probably Brian's got what he wanted.
Yeah, usually the first man to fall down, especially if you're the smaller of the two, it usually helps.
This ball coming across here, it's an ambitious effort on that far side. Cian Sheehan that went for it, and that's kind of a waste.
It is. Look, if you're going to call it straight, like you just can't kick a ball on the near side post from there. He was probably trying to put it in to Mike McMahon again, but look, it was either poor execution or just the wrong decision. But either way, Keane would certainly like that one back again.
Yeah, far from his best with that one. Cian Sheehan as Davy Lyons takes up possession for Adare from that short kick out by Brendan Carmody. Back to Robbie Burke it goes, and Burke again throughout this game, Mike McMahon for company. Both players marking each other and doing a good job of it too, it has to be said. Hand pass towards Davy Lyons from Davy Connolly. Foul has come. There's a head injury here for the challenger. On that occasion it was James Kelly again, I think it was here, as Newcastlewest make their first substitution of the game. It's Diarmid Kelly coming in for Sean Murphy, and Diarmid will bring a lot to this Newcastlewest side, Pa.
Yeah, look, Diarmid's a fella who I've seen playing. He was playing with my brother up along with Limerick, and fantastic footballer at minor level, and he really has a super left foot, and if his mind is at it and he's really geared for this and he comes into this with the right frame of mind, he could be a big impact for Newcastlewest.
Shane Costello on the run here, initially dispossessed but has fallen to Paul Maher, and Maher has been fouled by 2 Newcastlewest players according to referee Jonathan Hayes. So that's Paul Maher down at the moment for Adare, and he gets through an awful lot of work, Paul. He'd be a huge loss if Adare, as the yellow card comes to James Kelly, I think is the man who got that one. So, but just going back to Paul Maher, vital to this Adare team. Yeah,
he's probably on a bit of a man marking duty tonight at times, and maybe taking his attack and play out of it. But we could see with Limerick, like, loves to get forward. Like, for a cornerback, spends very little time in the full back line, which is the dream for most cornerbacks. But if he gets going, look, he's serious wheels, and he's got good engine going up and down the field. But it's gone very scrappy here the last few minutes. No team has really built any attacking threat.
No, as Oren Collins hand passes this one down to Owen Costello, supposed to be his full back line partner, given the number. That's a great take back there, and away come Newcastlewest, and there's a push off the ball there, blatant one by Shane Costello. I think it was Brian Hurley that made the great catch back there.
Catch.
Great take indeed. It was, as Newcastlewest play around the back. It wasn't. It was Seamus Hurley indeed, but either way, Newcastle come away with possession, and Mike O'Keefe over to that far side it goes. And it's Diarmid Kelly's first action in the game, playing this one back, and it's Newcastlewest now just slowly going through. Diarmid Kelly coming in again. Nice little hit by Mikey Lyons. Legal what says the referee, and Kelly does well to find Ian Corbett. Corbett marked closely by Ronan Connolly, and then eventually by Mikey Lyons. But it's Newcastlewest still travelling with possession before it comes back to one of their playmakers, James Kelly, and Kelly has an option on that right hand side. It's Brian O'Sullivan there, and O'Sullivan just delivering this one in towards Mike McMahon. This time McMahon breaks it for Owen Hurley. Good block down there though, and it's Robbie Burke again in the middle of it for Adare. And Darren O'Doherty not able to win possession back either there. Dewey Burke now with a space to run into. Brian Nix is there for Newcastle. Sidesteps him, has a free coming to him with the advantage. He's going to look for something else though and finds it in Paul Maher for Adare. Still remains at 4 points apiece here in the second half of this Irish Wire Products Limerick Senior Football Championship final. And it's Adare having forced to slow it down yet again with Paul Maher. Just bodies weren't in the attack for this Adare side on that occasion as Newcastlewest readying AJ O'Connor to come in as Davy Lyons goes on the run. Lyons still going, gets the pass away to Ronan Connolly. Indeed, it comes again to Robbie Burke. I think that's up there. Indeed, it is Robbie Burke forced to go backwards to Mikey Lyons. Symptomatic of this game, and Anthony Maher gives the call all the way back. It goes to Oran Collins, 40 yards backwards. Pat, it's symptomatic of this contest.
Yeah, look, it's, I suppose, as they're being very defensive and they just don't have an out ball in when they break up the field. Even when Hugh Burke went running there was no red jersey in front of him. Had to turn around, and once he turned around, Newcastlewest just got the bodies back. And look, it's something they'll have to look at if they're going to get scores, because neither team have hardly had a shot in the second half, and it's been on 30 minutes. I know there's been a few stoppages, but a lot of the ball has been played around the middle. There's, in fairness, Newcastlewest are looking in. They've got a score off a high ball in off of Owen Hurley. Adare have got their score off Owen Costello, but other than that, there's been very little to shout about.
Yeah, and there has been a substitution for Newcastlewest. AJ O'Connor on for Brian Hurley, and AJ O'Connor, you mentioned it, Pat, the likes of AJ and several more like Diarmuid Kelly on the Newcastlewest bench tonight. It's a seriously strong bench, and now they're taking their opportunities in using it. Yeah,
look, AJ is one of those players that if he really sparks, like he's a goal threat, he's a point threat, and straight into it already.
Yeah, great take by AJ O'Connor. He's been fouled as well. The centre half, of course, for Fairview Rangers inside in town, won an FAI Junior Cup medal with them last season, I should say. And Adare making their own substitution now. Shane O'Connor coming in for Mark Connolly, so third substitution for Adare. And Shane O'Connor, another player as well who can make an impact here for Adare.
Yeah, very, very quick player. Like, it's almost like for like. I think Mark Connolly is the one going off. Would have better days. Mark, I suppose, wasn't the type of game for him. Not many balls been kicked at the full forward line. Here comes a good turnover.
Yeah, and it's Adare have it now, and that's a foul. That could be a big call. No foul, says referee Jonathan Hayes. And again, another challenge on Shane O'Connor straight away, and he's been blown up for over carrying. It's going to be a free to Newcastlewest. They've taken quickly. We'll get Paranen's thoughts on that bit of action in a moment, but it's Newcastlewest on the run here. It's Cian Sheehan. Sheehan met by the challenge of Paul Maher. No free for coming there either, says referee Jonathan Hayes. Comes eventually here to Mike O'Keefe. O'Keefe probably won't have the shot, gets the ball, and the pass away himself is going to eventually come to Brian Nix. Nix now has Owen Hurley with him. Hurley maybe just coming out a bit far after those raft of substitutions for Newcastlewest. Well, I say raft, two isn't a raft, but it's enough at the moment as Brian Nix has possession now, Pat. There was plenty of calls not given there as Corbett has a go with this one. It's going to drop into the right and wide yet again. We'll talk about Ian Corbett's shot in a second. Plenty of hits went in there, plenty of fouls maybe on another day, but the referee opting not to do it.
Yeah.
And at the same 40 yards down to her left, something similar happened there. So
yeah, the whistle was put away there for about 30 seconds, no matter what was being done. And there was, look, if that happens, that's grand. It's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. It was going both ways. So Adare were aggrieved, and Newcastlewest were a bit aggrieved.
Yeah, it's Ronan Connolly now getting this pass away to Wee Burke. It's certainly getting that bit touchy here. Big challenge from Brian O'Sullivan. Adare called for a free. Jonathan Hayes is having none of it, and it's Newcastlewest now on the counter attack here with Diarmuid Kelly. Kelly has Owen Hurley with him here. Going into the middle, it goes to Corbett, to AJ O'Connor. O'Connor just trying to find a bit of space. He's overcarried, says referee Jonathan Hayes. And well, the crowd and sidelines are certainly getting involved now, Pat.
Yeah, the calls are rising the tensions and the noise levels and the decibels more than the plays, because it's just kind of getting both benches a bit hot under the collar. Some of the decisions, another overcarry call there against Newcastlewest. So AJ O'Connor got blown there for carrying it, and a ball in here to the full forward line to Mikey Lyons, I think.
Yeah, Jack English giving in to Mikey Lyons, showing all his experience with Lyons for finding Shane Doherty. Doherty trying to get a bit of space. Newcastlewest are their numbers as well to get the kick pass away to Mikey Lyons. Does Shane Doherty, and it's Forced to come out now as Lyons towards Jack English. The man who delivered that pass in initially is Jack English off his left. This would be a huge score for Adare. Huge score for the game, but it's hit the post. And similar to Roy Gleason in the first half, Paranan, inspirational scores that could have been. But alas, as the water break whistle number 2 comes, it remains a point apiece in the second half. It remains at 4 apiece as well. That could have been a huge score for Jack English.
That's the second time in the game now where the Adare bench were up celebrating the score, came off the post, and then it turned out that the Newcastlewest bench were up celebrating a wide. So would have been a big score. Jack certainly has that in his locker from that range, is decent left leg, and it did look good from this angle, but drifted wide. There is a bit going on off the ball, I suppose. Hugh Burke, you can see in chatting to Jonathan Hayes, and look, that's to be expected as we're into the final. 15 minutes? It's literally on a knife edge. 4 points apiece. It's far from being a classic, but look, it's intriguing. It's keeping you glued to see what's going to happen next. 1 point has been the most of a lead in this game, so that'll tell you about how close it's been.
And with that, you know, it's been a point either way for either side. Obviously, a goal, if it did come, it hasn't shown any signs of coming throughout the 47 minutes, just over 47 we've played here this evening. But if either team manages to get a 2-point advantage, it could be theirs to come home at the Father Casey Cup.
Especially you'd feel if it was Newcastlewest that got that, because they have, I suppose, if they're down 2, they still got the threat of inside there. It might be Mahan and Owen Hurley and a few of the forwards in and around their big men, that if they could just get a ball in there. Whereas Adare seem quite happy to get numbers back. If they can't build it quickly, they're building it slowly. But if we're going to extra time in these matches, they always say the first score in extra time is big. And if we're coming out here in the last quarter, the first score here is pretty big, because there's been 4 for the other 3 quarters. So any sort of lead here is going to be a massive one.
Yeah, I was just seeing a substitution immediately for Newcastlewest. James Kelly has departed, so it's a big substitution call and a big call made by Jimmy Lee and his management team. We'll just confirm who's come on for Newcastlewest as soon as we can. I'm just looking around here. Doesn't seem to be... Yeah, indeed it is Stephen Brasden, who came on initially for James Kelly earlier on in the game, is on permanently now for James Kelly and Newcastlewest. So 18, Stephen Brasden is on, and he'll bring plenty of experience to this team as well, Pat.
Yeah, look, it's kind of names that you're used to seeing on the starting sheet on most years, so they do have that strength and depth. Like, look, Newcastlewest, it's a big area, it's a big town. They're showing with their junior team at the weekend. They have big numbers playing, so they can afford to have a depth in their panel, and they're certainly showing it.
Free not taken for the correct place twice, says referee Jonathan Hayes, and as a result, they lose the free throwing ball. And waiting for 2 will be Jack English and another at the moment. Jack English and Cian Sheehan. Doesn't look a fair one, but it's going to be Jack versus Cian. And Jack, unsurprisingly, came away with it initially. He's gone down with a big injury too, Jack English, by the looks of things. May not be as bad as it looked initially. And he's going to be able to continue. Just a bit of a knock as Newcastlewest look to build again. And it's Ian Corbett that has it into Diarmuid Kelly. Kelly just running down a blind alley before finding the pass to Cian Sheehan. Now it's with the aforementioned Stephen Brasden. Slips, gets the pass away though to Brian Nix. Nix has Mike O'Keefe running outside him. It's O'Keefe on the run here for Newcastlewest. Hugh Burke is there. He's gone along with it as Mike O'Keefe. It's a good ball in towards Owen Hurley, but Adare have numbers. Hurley gets it across though. Dangerous for Mike McMahon. Couldn't get the ball in his hand. 2 big hits going in though. And there's going to be, it's Mike McMahon and Seamus Hurley that got the hit in, but I think referee Jonathan Hayes has stopped this one for an injury, and probably rightly so. Could have got vicious in there with the man down injured.
Yeah, well, like, he was down. It was a big hit from, I think it was Seamus Hurley again with a big hit there. It was that ball in. Actually, Owen Hurley did very well because he was outnumbered out in the wing, was able to get the ball under control, soccered it along to Michael Mahan, and if he could have got a better hand in it, there was a Newcastle man, I think, with Seamus Hurley running in, that would have been huge goal opportunity, but just couldn't. And well tied up by there, and I think it'll probably be just their ball, which once this injury is cleared off, he looks like he's okay, just a heavy hit. But yeah, look, it's Newcastlewest still persistent with that ball in, let that longer ball in, and they're getting some fruit out of it, because at the minute neither team has been able to break down the others by just running through.
I think it's Paul Maher that shipped that big knock there, coming back where he'd be used to be hanging around. I know he likes to get forward, but he's an excellent defender as well as Paul Maher. Read the danger there as well, coming back on Mike McMahon, and managed to pick up that loose ball just at the right time for this Adare side, and been tended to by the Adare or medical team, I should say. And looks to be okay now, as it's going to be a throw-in ball, says referee Jonathan Hayes, as Charlie McCarthy is getting ready to be introduced by Adare. Just having a final chat here with Anthony Maher, one of their coaches. Throw-in ball, Mike McMahon has won it ahead of Jack English, but Adare somehow have come out with possession initially. Kicked off the ground from David Connolly, and Newcastle have won it back. Maybe a chance coming, them trying to develop on anyway. The shot comes in the end. It's gone to the right hand wide though. You can see that from our angle here. It hasn't gone over the bar. Great score indeed. Dermot Kelly, I think, is the one that got it. I think it was Dermot Kelly. I was writing him off bar ran in. But that's an excellent score.
We did say he had a sweet left foot. If it was Dermot, it was a serious kick, because he backed himself straight away. You got it. He could see he was lining up for it. So it's a massive score in the context of this game. But here come Adare straight away.
Indeed, it was Shane Stack that got that, as Shane Costello delivers towards Hughie Burke. Immediate opportunity for Adare to get one back. Burke has not been unable to win it though, and that's a big blow for this Adare side. It was Shane Stack with the second point of the game for Newcastlewest. We were giving it to Dermot Kelly. We just couldn't see from our angle here, but what a finish from Shane Stack.
Brilliant. He's gotten two fantastic points, one off his right in the first half and that one off his left. So still in the context of the game, when you have a fella getting 2 points in play and there's been 9 scores in the whole game, like, it's massive. And lads going down with cramp now into the last 10 minutes. It's a point lead. The next score, we keep saying it, but the next score really is massive.
Yeah, and it's Newcastlewest pushing to go. 2 points to the good here. It's Keane Sheehan. Jinx past a number of defenders. A few dummies there as well. It's going to come back to Brian Nix. Nix opts not to have a go from long distance. Gives it back to Dermot Kelly. Kelly now finding Seamus Hurley. And Hurley now finding Kelly. And Kelly's taking on Mikey Lyons. Has the better initially. Has the free as well. It's going to come back as this one drops to the right and wide. It may have been an early whistle from the referee, but he could have had a better angle of where the shot was going than we did. A huge free for Newcastlewest here.
Yeah, and
from what, 48 or 9 metres.
This is really, I suppose, where Mike Quilligan, if he was playing, would have stepped up and taken this on. And Shane Stack, the way it's gone, he's got his hands in the ball. Ian Corbett's got his hands in the ball now. They'll surely go short with this.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to go short with this. Not worth the risk and losing possession. If they did go along with it, Stephen Brosnan, that has it now for Newcastlewest. He's on the 45, feigns to shoot before coming back to Corbett. They head back towards the Adare 65. But look, you've played 52 and a half minutes. And Newcastlewest, no, they have the advantage. They have the ball as well, so they're going to be in no rush to get rid of it.
Yeah, and you would say that they're valued for their point lead, but all it is the point lead. So they're like, all they need is one opportunity to get their hands on the ball and get up the field. We know they have the forwards on the pitch now that can get the scores.
Keane Sheehan now trying to develop a chance for Newcastlewest. Is going to break to Owen Hurley. Hurley has the shot outside of the boot, brings it from left to right. That's the 2-point lead that Newcastlewest were looking for as Charlie McCarthy comes on for Shane Costello, but Pa ran in. That could be a massive score.
Yeah, look, a brilliant score in the game and a fantastic score even from a football point of view. We were right behind it here, and he made it with the classic slicers. Kevin McStay always goes on about an RT, but it was a really great strike under pressure, and a 2-point lead now for Newcastlewest. And here comes Adare though straight away if they can break quickly. Yeah,
pushing the back is the call from the referee, and it's taken quickly here to Robbie Burke, who looks to have abandoned his man marking job, certainly for the moment, on Mike McMahon. It's Robbie Burke. He'll go from long range with Burke. That's going to drop in around the edges square. Shots there, saved by Ruddle. The fist came in from the Adare forward. A foul on the keeper as well. And just like that, the 2-point lead that Newcastlewest have fought so hard to get could have been evaporated in the quickest flashes.
Do you see one of those shots at the points that just drop short, and all of a sudden the team always gets a goal out of it? And it was, in fairness to Ruddle, and here got turned over again. Here we go there. Charlie McCarthy having an impact.
Immediate impact from Charlie McCarthy to Paul Maher to Ronan Connolly. The next man just briefly did it there. They still have. And it is now with Hughie Burke. The hand pass comes in. Davy Lyons. Goal chance here for Adare. Lyons goes for it. And has he put it over the bar? He has got the point. Surely could have went for the goal. Pa ran in. And that's the first clear sight and goal we've got today.
Yeah, it's just teams are starting to go for it now. It's amazing when you're down 2 points how you can throw the shackles off a bit more. 2 goal chances in a row there for Adare after none in the previous 54 minutes. Davy, look, got a score of it, which is the main thing because it's back to a 1-score game. But looking from here, it definitely looked like there was a goal opportunity on there.
A chance for Adare from that goal chance, and maybe a chance just before that as well. Mike McMahon tries to break that one down for Newcastlewest. Adare, their numbers handled on the ground though by Davy Lyons is the call. Don't think you could have too many arguments with that one. And Newcastlewest are also getting ready to bring on Donegal-Woods as soon as they have a chance to do so. So Newcastlewest now with Seamus Hurley in possession. After that free taken by Ian Corbett, it's Stephen Brosnan now into Brian O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan on the run, running into a bit of space up towards AJ O'Connor. O'Connor does well to collect possession. Under pressure he is, but AJ O'Connor has a man inside. That man is Owen Murphy. Back to O'Connor. O'Connor's go for goal. Buried by AJ O'Connor. And is that the final score for Newcastlewest? Finally, a bit of football comes out. And it's AJ O'Connor. He kid across the ball, ran in, just like Owen Hurley's point moments ago, and it was finished with absolute beauty into the corner.
Yeah, look, brilliant. Like, if there's a match win moment, if you ever saw when AJ won a ball under serious pressure from Oran Collins, did everything right as a defender. He still managed to shake him off and lose him. Gave it, went again, got it back, and the finish, like you were talking about AJ as a soccer player, like it was a really good finish to the corner, like, and a massive score in this game. And look, it's a long way back for Adare now.
As Diarmuid Kelly having that shot, it's gone to the right and wide. As Donegal-Woods is eventually allowed onto the field. We played 57. And it's Donegal-Woods in for Shane Stack on the Newcastlewest side. So number 19, Donegal-Woods in for Newcastlewest. And Shane Stack with his 2 points. I think that's a defensive-minded substitution, Pat.
Yeah, I think they might have changed their mind just after that goal going in there. But here come Adare now. They've an opportunity here.
Ronan Connolly with the ball in, but out comes Mike O'Keefe. Just attacking that ball, exactly what Jimmy Lee would have wanted from his cornerback. It was nearly a 50-50 ball. There was no one else but O'Keefe winning that one. And Newcastlewest now with a 4-point lead. 1-6 to 5 points. The goal was always going to be crucial. It's come to Newcastlewest way, and it's come in the final stages of this game as well. It's flicked on this time by AJ O'Connor. David Connolly is back there. He's going to easily collect this one under pressure from Owen Hurley and Adare. Really have it all to do now in the closing stages of this Irish Wire Products Limerick Senior Football Championship final here. It's Charlie McCarthy taking the pass from Shane Doherty. Charlie McCarthy has 2 with him. Donegal-Woods is 1. Brian Nix is the other, and he went down a dark alley, and it was a dark alley Newcastlewest had plenty of advantage with. Mike McMahon now is operating around the middle of the park. You're not going to see him up towards the full forward line again in this game. It's McMahon on the run, has hand passes to Mike O'Keefe. And it's O'Keefe now with plenty of space to run into. He won't want to run too far, but maybe we will see Mike McMahon go around the edge of the square. It's Woods. McMahon has it, 45 out. Gets the pass away to AJ O'Connor. O'Connor's going to go for the shot. O'Connor's got the goal. He's got a point as well. And when you can bring that type of talent off the bench, Paranan, we mentioned it several times. There's nothing better than finishers, as they're now called.
No, Jesus, that's a super score again from AJ. Like, after the goal, everything's going to go right for him. But, like, what a player to be able to bring off the bench. Probably a starter all season in their last county title win. And it's someone to bring off the bench when defences are tiring in the second half. And what an impact he's made. 1-1. Most likely he's changed the game in Newcastlewest's favour.
Yeah, it's Adare now really need something. They need it fast. They're 5 points down. We've a minute and 40 seconds of regular time to be played here. Pat, they need a goal, they need it quick, but outside of those 2, chance for Davy Lyons, the half chance before that, it hasn't come, but that does show that they can create. But Newcastlewest have 14 behind the ball now. Yeah,
and you'd imagine if even there's a sniff of the goal now, the defenders aren't going to let it happen. It's because they have that bit of a lead, 5 points where they can give away a few frees. And look, it's a long way back from here, and it's hard to see him doing it, but we've seen stranger things.
Paul Maher has it now, he's got a bit of space here. And the shot comes in. It's a decent one, but it's just gone to the left and wide. It was Shane O'Connor that had it. As Adare make another substitute themselves. It's going to be Aidan O'Connor coming in for Paul Maher. Maybe to do with Paul Maher as we see him limping off the field here. Paranahan, Aidan O'Connor, vast experience, but he's coming back into defence. Paul O'Connor's limping off, and you know, it's just such a mountain to climb now for Adare.
Yeah, to be honest, the second half, Newcastlewest have been much the better team. They've had all the chances up this end. Bar the 2 goals and the goal chances in the space of 30 seconds for Adare, which were fairly fortuitous. It's been looking left here towards the Ennis Road end a lot of the time. And and the scores have finally started to come for Newcastlewest.
Davy Lyons has it now. Ronan Connolly on the run. Connolly's been so good for there in so many ways. Ships a hard challenge there and so much pressure from Newcastlewest. It wasn't a legal challenge. There's referee Jonathan Hayes and Pat. We're at the stage now. This has to be a goal shot from Hughie Burke.
Yeah, and it's moving in a bit closer. Like it's. I don't know. Can you take a quick free? Oh, wide.
He let the quick free happen to Jonathan Hayes, as we're going to have 4 minutes of added time. It's gone to the left and wide from Hughie Burke. I'm surprised he let it be taken quickly. The referee did, and it was just inches away.
Wide. It could have just as easy nestled in the bottom left-hand corner, and it would have been really game on for the last 4 minutes there. So it just shows. Look, they have, I suppose, still that possibility in them there, but like possibly that was your last opportunity. 4 minutes left. If Newcastlewest get their hands on the ball again in the last 4 minutes, you feel they'll probably see it out.
Andrew Ruddle with the long kick out towards Mike McMahon. No surprise to see that happen. It's going to break, and it's going to break to Jack English. English was challenged round the head, around the neck. It's going to be a free, and English to take it quickly. On that left-hand side now is Garrett Sparling. In fact, it's not. That's Mikey Lyons. As Shane O'Connor delivers that one in. That's going to bounce wide and aimless from Shane O'Connor as Newcastlewest make another substitution here. It's going to be Lee Wolfe coming on for them, and it's man coming off is Owen Hurley, so it's number 20 for 21. Hurley wearing 21. Has a fine game. That point from play, Paranahan, decisive just as much as AJ O'Connor's goal.
Yeah, second half he really came into it on. He didn't see much ball in the first half, but he won a fantastic mark and got a score, and he got a great point, as we said, off the outside of his right here, and great player on. Like he's put up big scores in Newcastlewest over the years, but just shows their strength and depth when you can bring on Lee Wolfe, like who's played with Limerick under 20s up along. Like so, and you look at their bench, you've Rowan O'Connor played 20s this year, Brian Foley who captain 20s. Like they do have that bit of strength and depth, and they are showing it.
Yeah, and there's a push in the back there, and it's going to be a free to Newcastlewest. And it's a great ball in from Cian Sheehan. Now off they go again. It's AJ O'Connor. Gives it back to Mike McMahon. McMahon, does he have the room to have a go? He certainly has the room to have a go. He's the room to put it over the bar as well. And Parana, and that's the cherry on top for Newcastlewest. Yeah. No more popular man in a scorer in Mike McMahon.
Yeah, it's really everything's gone right from now at the minute. Mike McMahon's throwing balls over the bar from that distance. They're winning the mark with Cian Sheehan. It's one of those places you'd love to be out in the pitch at the minute if you're Newcastlewest, because they're on their way to their county title, and with the last 2 minutes everyone wants a piece of it.
Yeah, there may have been their slight favourites before the game, but Newcastlewest in many people's eyes had enough to see off Adare's challenge. Certainly the type of club that react well from hurt the previous season. They were beaten by Adare in the quarter-finals last year. They've come back with a perfect season, as it looks like now. Adare very unlucky as this one goes into AJ O'Connor again. O'Connor has been the difference between the sides since coming off the bench. He's got a bit of space, finds Brian Nix. Nix is going to have a go as well. That one's going to drop into Brendan Carmody's arms, but Paranahan, it's just been outstanding from Newcastlewest, especially in the second half.
Yeah, and you mentioned about last year, like, and you need a bit of luck too, like, and they were out of the hurling that little bit easy earlier this year, which allowed quite a few of their players to commit fully, and look, the goal was the big one. Like, once whoever got the goal, we were saying, was going to win the game more than likely, and it was AJ O'Connor's influence off the bench. And like, unfortunately, Mikey Lyons obviously probably isn't right, and to be fair to him, it's hard for him to come on in a county final and make a big impact. So it certainly looks like Newcastlewest are on their way to avenge last year's loss.
Yeah, Stephen Brosnan now just holding on to possession. This vastly experienced Newcastlewest side, as well as youth on their side. No surprise to see the guys handling the ball in the last couple of minutes, Pat, are all their experienced players before it eventually goes into AJ O'Connor. He's not going to take the mark, gives it into McMahon. There could be another goal here if they wanted. It's Corbett. Corbett to finish it off, saved by Carmody, and bounces out under pressure was Corbett with the shot. Apologises for not giving the pass. He had to go for it. Would have been a great way to top off a brilliant move. Again, AJ O'Connor was in. Andrew Ruddle is getting a call from Declan Bruder to come up and take the 45. Andrew doesn't look looks nonplussed about coming up. He's happy enough where he is. If he is going to come up, he's going to come up. Well, now he's getting a trot on. And now he's going to maybe just waste as much time as they can, Pa. But yeah, time is up here on the clock. The 4 minutes of added time being played. If this goes dead, that is it for Newcastlewest and the 2021 Irish Wire Products Limerick Senior Football Championship Final. And championship indeed. So Ruddle, and they missed Mike Quilligan, as you mentioned, Pa. Only had one opportunity from a 45 long range free. It's been that type of a game, but Ruddle has the chance to really finish things off in style here for Newcastlewest. Didn't get hold of it, did Andrew Ruddle. It's going to go dead. and that's all that really matters. That should be the full-time whistle, and Pa Ranahan very, very deserving of this victory, our Newcastlewest.
Yeah, very even first 40 minutes. Very, very even first 40 minutes. Nothing to separate them. But the subs have made a difference, especially AJ O'Connor.
And that is the full-time whistle here at the TUS Gaelic Grounds in the Irish Wire Products Limerick Senior Football Championship. It's victory for Newcastlewest over there on a 1-8 to 5-point scoreline. It was all square at 3 apiece at half-time. Newcastlewest had very much the better of it in the second half. They went 2 points clear at 6 points to 4. It went back to 6 points to 5, all before AJ O'Connor got that all-important goal for Jimmy Lee's side. We mentioned, Pat, look, they've come back from that quarter-final defeat last season and have won their second title in 3 years. You know, it's a huge win for Newcastlewest. 2 best teams in the competition this year, and it's Newcastlewest that have done exactly what was needed in that second half. A delighted Ian Corbett shaking hands with the management or the referee and his officials in this game, but a huge victory for them. But a word for Adare as well. Look, great champions, a huge win over Ballylanders last year as well, but ultimately the final was just that little bit step too far for them in 2021.
Yeah, look, they were probably would be honest enough to say their performance today wasn't up to what they usually deliver. It's gas between these two. It just seems to be one wins one year and the other gets a bit more hungry for the year after, and vice versa. And they'll probably go back and forth another few years. It's probably up to another few teams in the county now to break this stranglehold. But Adare, look, what did they won before today? They'd won 3 of the previous 4. So it's 3 of the previous 5. It's hardly something that you wouldn't want. It certainly would take 1 at this stage. Any club would,
especially with a team that are up 5 years from, or 4 years from. Yeah. From intermediate, 5 years, so I mean it's
and they're still a good age. They probably do need to find maybe 1 or 2 players. And look, we were chatting earlier, they have massive numbers and playing football in that club now. So my heart won't bleed for them because they've had success. It's Newcastle's day today. They were the better team on the day. They took their chance in the second half. They had that bit more off the bench, that bit more scoring power. What was it at the end? 1-8 to 5. They won by 6 points. You can't argue with it.
Yeah, we'll go down now for the presentations. We'll be back for a more roundup of the game after celebrations as Newcastlewest captain James Kelly receives the Father Casey Cup. Newcastlewest captain there, James Kelly, receiving the Father Casey Cup. They're down in front of us here in the Mackey stand. And Pa ran in such a big victory for Newcastlewest. You know, it's a huge day for a parish county final, even under lights here at the TUS Gaelic Grounds. But we mentioned several times in commentary towards the end, worthy winners. And, you know, they're not a team that's going away anytime soon either.
No, like we said, plenty players playing football in Newcastlewest. Big town, good age profile. I suppose what they haven't done yet is back it up with a win on top of a win. So that's something they'll be aiming for next year. But for now, they've got a Waterford champions in the first weekend in December, I think. So plenty of time to prepare for that. Hopefully, any time they've ventured into Munster to date, they've turned up and performed while not winning. They gave Clonmel a fantastic game a couple of years ago, and Clonmel won Munster, and they ran Nemo very close a couple of years ago. So hopefully, from a Limerick point of view, they'll do themselves justice in Munster this year.
Yeah, that's it. The speech is ongoing down in front of us here at the TUS. Just a quick word on Adare as well, Pat, before we finish up. You know, they'll certainly be back.
Yeah, look, they're a fantastic outfit. Wasn't their day today, obviously. Maybe a few injuries coming into the final, but take nothing away from Newcastlewest. But yeah, they're like club going the right direction. Big numbers playing football there. 3 counties in the last 5 years. A team that'll be back in next year, like we said. That bit of hunger maybe that they didn't have today, they might have under their belt again next year. And they'll probably look at a few things today that they might have done a bit different. Maybe let loose the man markers a bit sooner to attack. But look, to be fair, it was a draw with 20 minutes left, so they didn't do that much wrong. Just Newcastlewest at a deeper bench.
Yep, that's it from us here at the TUS Gaelic Grounds. The celebrations will certainly go long into the night for Newcastlewest as they celebrate their Irish Wire Products Limerick Senior Football Championship title. We'll keep the speeches ongoing just for a moment. My many thanks to Paran, and it's John Keogh signing off from commentary. And join us for more live action on Limerick J TV shortly.